Can you believe we're into August already? Because I can't. We've been living through a very strange bubble of time with lockdowns, restrictions and vaccines, so much so they've become part of our daily chats, and I'm actually starting to miss folk just talking about the weather instead. So with a new month comes a new Trading 212 portfolio update. £20,193.78. That is how much I have now invested with Trading 212 since I started investing at the beginning of April 2020. I could sell all of my investments in Trading 212 and get access to that 22k. However, I'm a long-term investor and I have no plans of selling anytime soon. I've said it countless times before and I'll say it again, long-term investing for the win. So if you're new here and you've not seen me before, my name is Ian and I've been documenting my investment journey since the first UK national lockdown. I still consider myself a beginner investor and I'm always learning and sharing more of what I find. Creating these videos helps keep me accountable and hopefully it helps some of you watching these videos too. So if any of that sounds interesting or useful, please consider subscribing to the channel, hit the red subscribe button below and I will hopefully see you back here for future videos. But only subscribe if you really want to, and don't worry, I'm not going to beg you because let's be honest, nobody wants to see that. With all that being said, let's see how my Trading 212 portfolio is looking in another episode of my investment journey series, and today's episode is episode 43. So it's been another couple bumpy months. The lowest return in my portfolio was 3.27% and the highest was 9.02%. But even at 3.27%, that still beats what the banks are currently offering with their so-called high interest or higher interest savings accounts and current accounts. I remember before I started investing when my money was simply sitting in my bank's savings account and current account and it was earning something like maybe 1.2% interest. So don't make the same mistake I did for too long of simply keeping your money in your bank's accounts because you haven't taken the time to learn about investing or just because you can't be bothered figuring out what exactly it takes to invest your money. It's important to remember that people lose money every day when their money is simply sitting in a bank savings account, since inflation actually erodes the purchasing power of your cash. And this is why the bulk of wealth is usually made from people who invest their money. Now, I've not made any new investments lately, but I have increased my positions with my current investments, including all of my ETFs and most of my individual holdings. First of all, let's chat about dividends. So I've actually had 4 dividend payments since my last portfolio update that I did here on YouTube. So let's go check them out first. So here we're in the dividend section of my Trading 212 account, and you can see that I received £19.62 from Shell on the 28th of June. Not long after that, on the 5th of July, I received £32.64 from the iShares Core FTSE 100 ETF. And then the very next day, I received £13.37 from the Vanguard FTSE Emerging Markets ETF and also £13.29 from the S&P 500 ETF. So this brings my total dividends to £349.59. Not bad at all considering I don't class myself as a dividend investor like I always say. I simply view dividends as a nice bonus and I make sure they always get reinvested. That way I'm letting compound interest, which is interest on interest, do its thing. So I just want to mention really quick, there's a few of my stocks with their ex-dividend dates coming up this month, and I'll just point them out here in case any of you guys own these stocks and you're looking to maybe top up your positions. So on the 11th of August we have Starbucks going ex-dividend. Then on the 12th of August, the next day, we have Royal Dutch Shell and also Legal and General. And then later this month, literally at the end of the month, on the 31st of August, we have McDonald's. So if you own any of these stocks and you want to increase your next dividend payment with those stocks, then just remember and top up your positions by those dates. And if you found that helpful already, make sure to click the like button. So what are my stocks actually looking like at the moment? Let's take a closer look at my investments and see what's what. And like last time I did a portfolio update video, we'll start with my ETF investments. Just remember, ETF stands for Exchange Traded Fund. It's a fund that can trade on an exchange. And ETFs can be bought or sold on a stock exchange just like a regular stock. And yes, guess what? I'm still a massive fan of ETFs and they do still make up the bulk of my portfolio. So first up here we have the iShares Core S&P 500 ETF. No surprises, this is still my biggest investment with 162 shares and it's currently worth £5,167. This ETF currently makes up 23.5% of my total portfolio, and I do have plans to increase that up to roughly 30% over the coming months. Moving on, we've got the iShares Core FTSE 100 ETF. Now, this was my first ever investment back in April 2020. Regular watchers on my channel, you guys will know that. I currently own 418 shares in this ETF, and this is currently worth £2,926. This ETF makes up 13.3% of my portfolio, and I'm actually wanting to increase this to roughly 15 or even 20%. Next, we have the Vanguard FTSE Emerging Markets ETF. This is my third biggest holding with 52 shares, which are currently worth £2,620. This ETF makes up roughly 11.9% of my portfolio, and I'm actually looking to get this up to around the 15% mark. Moving on, we've got the iShares Global Clean Energy ETF, and I actually own 175 shares in this. It's currently sitting with a value of £1,657, and this makes up 7.5% of my total portfolio at the moment. And for this one, I'm actually looking to increase that to roughly 10% over the coming months. Moving on again, we have the VanEck Vectors Video Gaming and Esports ETF. Ticker symbol for this is ESPO. Let's just keep calling it that because it's always a mouthful saying this. I currently own 42 shares in this ETF and it's worth £1,221. This makes up 5.5% overall, and at the moment, I'll be honest, I'm actually happy with that. The iShares Nasdaq 100's next up. Now, I did recently sell one share of this ETF, and I took the profits I received from selling that share and reinvested them into the VFEM, the FTSE Emerging Markets, when that recently dipped in price. So at the moment, I currently own one share of this, which is worth £629, and as you can see, it's currently up 32%. This ETF makes up roughly 2.8% of my overall portfolio, and I've got no plans to increase that at the moment. Last but not least, with my ETFs, we've got the iShares Physical Gold. As you see, it's had another huge drop this past week. I currently own 23 shares, which are worth £566. This only makes up 2.5% of my total portfolio, and yeah, at the moment, again, I'm probably happy with that, to be honest. I have no plans to increase this right now, but it's definitely going to be something that I keep hold of. Remember, it's only a loss if you sell at a loss, and I'm not planning to sell this anytime soon. So with my ETF investments out of the way, let's move on to my other investments. And like I've said before, the ETF investments always make up the bulk of my portfolio. I'm happy with that. Everything is more diversified, there's less risk. I'm not purely investing into one company, but I do hold separate stocks, which is into individual companies. So let's get on to them now. So starting off with my individual investments, we have Shell, and this makes up 11.3% of my portfolio. I currently own 170 shares, which are worth £2,494. Like I said earlier, they do have their ex-dividend date coming up on the 12th of August, so make sure to top up your position by then if you're looking to increase your next dividend payment. And just so you know, Shell's next dividend payment date is actually the 20th of September. Next up here, we've got Argo Blockchain. This is my favourite cryptocurrency miner. I currently own 1,720 shares, which are worth £2,232. Now yes, this is currently a negative return of £274, and I have been taking advantage of the recent dips in price, and I have been buying more. I do believe in this company long term, so I will be increasing my position with them steadily. At the moment, this makes up 10.15% of my total portfolio. I'm happy with that. I think keeping under 15% is sensible right now, so yeah, I'm happy with where that is. Now moving on here, we have Legal & General. I own 550 shares, which are worth £1,521. That's currently a positive return of 15.2%. Like Shell, their ex-dividend date is the 12th of August, so this is another one to potentially top up if you're looking to increase your next dividend payment, which is also on the 20th of September. Currently, Legal & General make up 6.9% of my portfolio. Now guys, I'm sorry if you get hungry here, this usually happens to me, but you've been warned. And why am I saying that? It's because we're now talking about McDonald's. I currently own 3.4 shares and they are worth £586. This is a positive return of 4.05%. I have no real plans to increase this at the moment. The ex-dividend date for McDonald's is the 31st of August, if you're interested, and this currently makes up 2.6% of my overall allocation. Now with McDonald's out of the way, it's only sensible that we move on to Starbucks. Get your coffee out, folks. Starbucks. And yes, I do now want a coffee. I own 4 shares at the moment and they are currently worth £357. This is a positive return of 20%, which I actually find really decent. The ex-dividend date for Starbucks, like I said earlier, is 11th of August and the payment date is just 2 weeks after, which is on the 27th of August. And now moving on to my last individual investment here on Trading 212, and that investment is Tilray. I own 2 shares, both of which were free shares I received from Trading 212. This investment is currently worth £20. It's not one I'm looking to increase at the moment. To be honest, I'm just holding on to see what happens. There is potential with this stock from what I have read. So yeah, I might increase it if good news comes out in the coming months. But to be honest, I've simply not done enough research in this area to feel comfortable with putting my own money into it. So that is all the investments I currently hold on my Trading 212 account, a total of 13. That number has not changed since the last update. I did mention that earlier, I've still got the same holdings, I've simply increased the positions with those holdings. I feel having between 10 and 15 investments is perfect for me. Too many become a headache, and to be honest, I like keeping things simple. Hence why the bulk of my portfolio is made up with the ETFs that I previously mentioned. Now I think it's important to note that with too much information, we usually end up doing nothing. Analysis paralysis is a really real thing, and it is definitely something that I've suffered with in the past, and I know many other people who suffer with this also. In fact, doing nothing is usually the worst choice you can make. And like I found with investing my own money, getting started was actually the most important thing. I got started, I made a few mistakes, I still maybe do make some mistakes, but I'm continuously investing my money, I'm learning along the way, and I feel that is better than never getting started at all. So my total portfolio value is now £22,002.23, and here is how the allocation for each investment is currently looking. So again, like I've explained, the ETFs are making up the bulk of my portfolio. You can see my individual stocks are making up much less. Some people might think I'm still too overly invested in the individual holdings, but I know the risk that's involved with that, and I'm happy. And as long as you've done your own research, you know what you're doing, and you're comfortable with the money you've invested, really, what's wrong with that? So it's time for some news, and the latest news with Trading 212 is that account registrations are finally open. Well, at least for those in the EU, that is. We're still waiting to hear the news for us UK folks, and I really do hope we get some sort of news soon, because I feel this account freeze has just been going on for far too long now, and I know there's many people who are too frustrated, hanging on and just waiting to find out what's happening. A lot of people have likely given up waiting for the account registration to open back up again, and they've probably joined the likes of Freetrade. But that's a platform that I cannot comment on because it's not one that I have used. Now, if you do want to sign up with Trading 212 and you're currently in the EU, then you're in luck because, like I say, the account registrations are now open for EU customers. And if you sign up using my referral link, which is in the comments section and also the description of this video below, you will get a free share for signing up, and so will I. If you're in the UK, you can click the same link below and sign up to the waiting list, and when account registrations are open again, you will receive a free share worth up to the value of £100, and yep, so will I. Now, of course, you don't have to use my referral link to sign up to Trading 212 or to the waiting list, but if you were to sign up and you have watched this video and you're looking to create an account anyway, I really would appreciate it, so thank you in advance. So if you enjoyed this video or found it useful or helpful or entertaining, any of those things, please consider giving it a like. It really does help me and this channel, and it pushes this video and other similar videos into the faces of people who like this type of content. You can also subscribe by clicking the subscribe button below if you want to, and click that bell icon too if you're really keen on getting notified when I post new videos. Again, no pressure, but if you do it, thank you. I appreciate it and I appreciate you. Now, please be sure to post some comments below and let's get some discussions going on. I do make a point of replying to every single comment. If you're taking time out of your day to watch and comment on my videos, then the very least I can do is reply to your comment. It's only fair. Except for the fake ass spam accounts and all the bots out there, you can go and get. Now, thanks again for watching this video and watching this update. I really do appreciate it, and I hope to see you on some of my other videos.